pretty good. But then I looked up a flight because I think they said like domestic flights you can book. They kind of update their pricing like every week, and then like as it got closer, because I think they're just based it off of what seats are available. So you're kind of getting like the things that didn't get booked.
Yeah.
But then I like looked up a ticket to like I think it was Puerto Rico, and it was like $40.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, both ways.
Did you book it?
I wanted to.
You should.
I should have just been like, see you guys, I'm leaving.
That would have been fun.
I know. I didn't want to go by myself. I feel like going to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just in Puerto Rico by myself. I'm just in the hotel.
Living it up.
Yeah.
Hanging out. And just like,
FaceTiming everybody like, hey, how was it? It was awesome. That's great. I love it. But
in the hotel room.
yeah, I couldn't convince anyone in my family to buy the pass, and no one wanted to pay the full price to go to Puerto Rico, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
dang.
So I just bought Nike shoes instead. And
Hey, there you go.
called it a day. But okay, well, I guess we should start, huh? Maybe put a. So welcome, Diego, Kaity. Thanks for coming on. We typically, like, I don't know. I always like start on random stuff, and then we kind of like dive into things, and then we'll just kind of see how the conversation flows. So it's not like anything too crazy or serious, but. Typically, like, we try to talk about leadership, life skills, just really anything, and then I'll typically ask, like, a question, and normally I do this part, like, before we start rolling the cameras, but whatever.
No, yeah, you're good.
But, yeah, I'll usually start with, like, a question, and we'll just kind of free-flow it and see where it goes. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been kind of in the works for a bit, you know?
Yep.
I know. That's our bad.
No, you good. It's been, like... We've both been kind of missing each other on it, so. So do you guys travel a lot for work, or just like travel a lot for fun, or kind of both?
Both.
Yeah, I think...
Like, I'm low-key jealous of your guys' like Instagram feed, because I'm like, you guys are traveling. I'm like, dang, type.
I think it started out
With work.
with work, yeah, because with my work, there's always at least one trip planned every year, towards the end of the year or towards the beginning of the new year.
Right.
So, yeah, it started out with my work just because it was easy. It was like paid for, or it was a lot cheaper to go on it because traveling can get expensive. Yeah. So it started out with going on my work, but now it's
we love it.
Yeah,
So
we
now
really enjoyed traveling, so now we're like trying to do other trips. But since from the last one, we're like, this gets expensive if you go. I don't know. It was expensive to go to this
The
last
East
one.
Coast,
Yeah,
yeah.
to go to the East Coast. But
What was that? Just like.
Just hotels. It was 11 days, so
Oh, okay.
hotels, travel, like
Food.
we got a car, and you know, like if you're under 25, the car prices like go up so much, so that didn't help. But
That's the worst part, honestly. The rental car. It's like
yeah, we paid an
brutal.
extra like
$200 extra,
extra $200 just because we were
not 25.
we're 23.
So yeah.
So
I
it
know.
sucked. And I guess it all depends on where you go. I
Do you
guess.
guys go through like the airport rental companies, or what do you guys use, like a separate app or anything?
We went through we went through Hertz,
Okay.
but that's because we thought we could use the AAA account. So we bought a AAA account, but then they're like, you have to book it through AAA, and so we did it wrong. And
So we had this plan to buy a AAA membership.
it's only $60.
So that we could waive the under 25 underage fee.
Right.
And
But
it does
then-
work. You just have to do it correctly.
I see.
Yeah, you have to go through your AAA account and then book it.
Book it.
We thought we could book it through Hertz, just show them our membership, and they would waive it. But then they're like, the people at the airport are not having it.
What's weird too is Hertz kind of like claims to be the like we're cool with the underage rental car like fees.
Yeah.
You know, the other ones like budget and all those other ones, they're like strict on their 25 policy.
Yeah.
But then you go to Hertz and they're still like just as strict. They just kind of like put that out there to get people to go through them.
I think it's because if you did the AAA, they're lenient with it.
Oh,
But
really? What's why the AAA was there?
it's like it's like an insurance kind of thing. Like, I don't know if it's really insurance, but
I mean, it's like car, home insurance, or whatever, and I'm not really sure.
it's like they'll help you. Like, you need to be towed. Like, there's like
Yeah,
different
it's like that
things
kind
they'll
of
help you with.
They
Sure.
take some of the liability.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So they're partnered with Hertz, but
But you have to book it through AAA. Like, you have to book your car through AAA, and we didn't do that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What car did you pull up in the?
Oh, it was
Oh,
so
that's
cute.
funny. Do you guys want to see it?
We got a Kia Soul, but it was yellow, and it was so cute because it looks like a little taxi.
Like a taxi?
Yes,
Yeah.
so cute.
Did you have anyone try to like call you down in the streets?
No, but we were debating between a white one and a yellow one. We're like, let's just do the yellow one, and we named her Mellow because it was so cute.
Yeah.
Like just this,
There it is.
just a little yellow Kia Soul.
Oh, it's like a bright yellow too. It's not
Yeah.
like
It's a straight taxi.
That's awesome.
Well, taxis are like little orange.
You should have gotten some spray paint and little like black stripes on it or whatever.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. Did you drive in New York too with it?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Once we drove
just to the hotel.
Hotel.
Yeah.
Because the hotel had like parking underneath.
Okay.
So you just gave it to them and then they parked it, which was way cheaper than driving in. Like parking in Times Square was like, how much was it an hour? Like
I think $7.
$7 an hour. And I mean, you would spend all day there. So
Right.
it would rack up.
Yeah.
So it was just cheaper. We just left it there. We did the subway.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I feel like trying to drive in New York would have been like so hard.
Yeah, people are a little crazy.
Yeah.
We drove in DC the whole time, and
They're crazy.
that was insane.
Aren't they a lot of like roundabouts?
In DC?
Or is that Boston? I feel like Boston was like a giant circle, like how the roads are done. But I don't know.
remember.
You spent more time there than
Yeah, but I rode a train and walked, so I don't remember
Fair
driving it.
Yeah. Well, what sucks about the East Coast is on the highway when you miss an exit, like here, it's like
just
You
hit
get off the next one.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just get off the next one here, but over there, it's like you miss this one, the next one's like 5
Forever.
miles away.
Yeah.
It's like 5 streets away, and then you have to like do this whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had time to figure it out over here. They rushed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like traveling. But yeah. Our favorite one was Belize.
Belize.
We did, his work did a humanitarian project there.
Mhm.
And it was like, you just pay,
It was a donation.
yeah, you pay your donation and then
Oh,
they pay
nice.
for everything else. And
Did
so
you get to like write it off too as a tax donation or like tax deductible?
Yeah, supposedly.
our tax guy wasn't that great. He was like, this doesn't work. So we're like,
Yeah, we're looking for a new tax guy.
neither was our tithing. Like, it was just weird. Like, he did really weird things with our
Your tithing
taxes.
didn't count as a
No.
tax write-off?
Yeah, I don't know. It
Wow.
was really weird. So
He's like, sorry, not today.
He's like,
Not a
donations,
donation.
no.
What?
Yeah, it was weird. We're
He
like-
said it had to be over a certain number, and we're like, well, that's weird.
Like, we need a second opinion.
I think even my like taxes got my donation to the church got written off, and it was like $1,000 or something, like for the year or whatever.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, it's a
Yeah.
donation. It should count.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but hey,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah,
we pay our tithing, you know.
yeah.
We try to get something out of it.
Blessings.
We try to get something else out of it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
oh well. This year,
But yeah, the humanitarian project was fun because we got to see and help a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Is it better? Like, was it less expensive to travel like out of country, or is it more expensive in country?
In country.
in country,
Yeah.
for
More expensive.
sure.
It also depends on what trips you do. Like, Diego and I really like cruising.
Mhm.
Everyone's a little different. Some people don't like it. But that's like one of the cheapest ways to go outside the country,
Really?
I think.
Yeah, because like even if you were to just fly or drive to Mexico, like I think you just have to do a bunch of like food and this and you just all rack up.
Right.
But we were talking about all our cruises and stuff, and we were like trying to mentally think like, oh, how much do we spend on this food? And because you can have unlimited whatever you want, it's already included in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Compared to buying a meal here, a meal here, and a meal here.
Yeah.
You just
And in the country, meals are not cheap.
Yeah.
So
Right.
outside the country, well, it also depends. Like, we've never been to like Europe. Like, we usually go to like Mexico, which is more cheap. Or
Right.
cheaper than.
Right. Versus here, it's like
So it depends on your trips. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for what you get on a cruise, it's definitely a lot cheaper. Because
Yep.
you can get whatever you want, and it's like good quality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So,
and,
yeah.
then and then they take you there too, so it's kind of all
Mm-hmm.
all provided. Where have you guys cruised to?
our first cruise was our honeymoon, and
Your
that was
first
to.
cruise.
Oh yeah, my first cruise. Sorry, I guess
It's
together.
like I've been on a few.
Yeah, sorry.
She's been on a few.
It's like don't lock me down. To that
I know.
one.
Yeah.
It's like that wasn't even the best one.
But yeah, we went to Cozumel.
Yeah,
It's like a little
I mean,
island. It was okay.
Yeah,
Where was that? What is it?
It's Cozumel. It's kind of over by Cancun, right?
Yeah, it's in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like at the end, like on the tip.
Okay.
It's just a little island off of there.
And then we went to a few other places over there, but...
Yeah, and then...
They have like a lot of excursions off the boat too, right? That you
Yeah.
can do or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we did Puerto Vallarta, Cabo, like... Yeah, and then we went...
Like California side of Mexico.
And then with his work, we went to the Bahamas.
Oh, cool.
That was really cool. So there's a few. Usually Mexico, but...
Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common cruising destination. Unless you go Alaska, but you have to be like 50 to do Alaska. Like, that's such like an old person.
You have to get all the way to Seattle, like, or up there.
That's true.
Like you never hear a young person who's like, "Oh, I went to the Alaska cruise and it was awesome."
It's
so
true.
It's always like a 75. Yeah, all of our old friends went here.
Yeah.
It's like never young people.
It's true. They got their big coats on a cruise ship.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
They're layering.
They're all smiling next to like, and like, what are they called? The like the ice.
The
thing.
icicles.
Yeah, the icebergs.
The glaciers.
The
Oh, I
glaciers.
get you,
Yeah,
I
the
get
glaciers.
you.
They're all like, or like just like a whale coming there.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know. Yeah. But then I feel like they always call the Mexico ones. They're like my parents. They're always like, yeah, we don't want to go on a booze cruise with all the young people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. That sounds kind of fun.
It's fun for us.
Yeah,
Everyone's young.
Yeah, I'm not going to drink, but I like to watch people get drunk.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
it is.
But
It's the vibe.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you want that, it's Carnival.
That, yeah.
Carnival is the ones we've always gone on.
Well, we've
And then-
done Carnival and Royal Caribbean. Carnival's like the party one with
Yeah.
a lot of young people drinking, and then Royal Caribbean's like a nicer boat but less
Party.
party.
Yeah, less party.
Which do you like better between the two?
I like Carnival better, but that is like
Yeah.
so personal. Like everyone's like, not Carnival.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's always like, Carnival's terrible. It's so party.
Yeah, but
they
I
just
like
think
it.
it's like
There's
the
more
cheaper
kids.
one, but
Yeah.
it's really, they just think it's like cheaper, like whatever, but it's not. Like
The comedians are way better, and we really like comedian shows. So like
Yeah.
comedians are way better on Carnival. They have like family ones that are like wholesome instead of like super not good to watch.
At Carnival? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That's
So
cool.
it's like
they have,
we
like,
go
two
with
different
family
shows.
and like little siblings can come and watch it because
Oh,
it's
that's
like
nice.
good
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah. Carnival always gets a bad rap, I feel like.
I think
But
just because there's a lot of kids on it and older people are like no
I
kids.
get like annoyed by
Yeah.
it. Yeah, because even my parents are always like, I don't know. I got to talk to them about that. I'll have them listen to this. Be like,
Yeah.
hey, listen to Katie and Diego.
I don't know. They don't take us on cruises.
They stand with Carnival. Okay.
They took us to Idaho. That's family vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun though. Do you guys have family in Idaho?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, we got. Well, now Megan lives there too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Megan abandoned us for
Yeah.
the winters.
The
up there.
cold.
I don't know. She got like well, I don't know. She's got like 3 boyfriends up there now. So.
Yikes! Just kidding. That's
Fine.
awesome.
Well, she was trying to lock down
Well,
one. Yeah, not to spill her drama
She
out
doesn't
here,
have
but
any boyfriends. She has like.
she doesn't even watch this show, so it doesn't matter. She'll never hear this.
I
But-
literally go on her account and like the videos for you.
I know you do. Yeah, she doesn't like it for me.
Yeah,
I
I do all
know.
that
I know
work.
she's not a true fan. I understand. That's why she's not on the show.
I'll go like them for you, Matt.
Yeah, Mikhail's trying to save Megan's credit here as a family.
No, I'm trying to give you like boost your.
Try to boost the algorithm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get more watchers. Like,
They say if you send it to like.
The show's
3
doing really
people,
good, by the
and
way.
you go and interact with it like within 10 minutes, then it boosts your thing, and I was like, say less.
It's actually just Mikhail getting me views. There's no one's actually watching.
she has like 20 different accounts. It's just-
Yeah. She's,
Like
just,
you like scroll my Instagram and just like.
she's sharing and sending to herself. She's the one
funny.
trolling my account.
Okay, bud.
Yeah, it's actually not Alex Rogers.
It's just me.
Do you guys know Alex Rogers?
Uh-uh.
I think he went to school. He was like a few years younger. Anna Rogers.
Oh, yes,
is
yes,
Oh,
yes.
younger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he plays volleyball at that Wednesday volleyball thing.
Mm-hmm.
That thing Sarah used to run.
It's so
And we trashed volleyball last week. We don't need to do it again. Okay. Like I had to bleep half the episode because of that. But he came on, or I don't know. We started talking, but I don't know how it came up. But he started calling me Bud, and I just like made the comment. I was like, oh, that's like my least favorite thing is to be called Bud. And then like every time I post a clip on Instagram, he'll comment on and go, all right, Bud, or
You're
nice
like,
work,
no.
pal. And I'm like, why are you trolling on me? And this,
just put that in like your comments that aren't allowed, like words that can't be said.
oh yeah, report this
Oh.
if it gets commented.
No bud.
Yeah, I should put that.
No bud.
I'll work camp, yeah. But, man, I don't even know how we got on that topic.
We were talking about Megan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, family.
Oh, that's right. So, but yeah, so she was like dating this one guy, kind of, but he's like kind of not. Like I think he's wanting to date around. Is the best way to put it. You know?
Yeah.
You know when like a girl shows a lot of interest, and then like the guy's like, well, I like the interest, but like I'm not sure I want to settle on that. Like
you seem like you know a lot about this, man.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't do this often.
Watch out, people.
I'm just kidding.
No. Yeah. So, but she basically like I think he's just more like he likes the attention, and he's like, well, if like I don't want to give this up because what if that's like, you know, what that's the one that's my best option, you know. Yeah. But that sounds so bad. I'm so sorry.
No, I get it though.
You know what I'm saying, right? Right.
No, yeah, we get you.
Yeah.
It's that mindset, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a good mindset.
Yeah,
we would never think that way.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, I've never thought that way.
We don't have that mindset.
Not once did I ever think like, you know, that. But he, I think, thinks that.
Yeah.
And so, Megan's really, like, she likes him, but he's kind of on the fence and giving, like, mixed signals. And then there's, like, these two other guys, because there's only, like, 4 guys that are there anyways. Yeah. And, yeah, the population's slim. And so, there's, like 3 other guys that are kind of into her, too. And, like, one guy asked her out. Like, this one guy she's into, he, like, hasn't even asked her out.
That's
hard. Like, they just, like, snap and stuff.
Told him. She was like, you have to take me on a date.
Yeah.
And he hasn't?
No.
Like, girl, move on.
And, like, they keep...
Yeah.
It's hard.
They keep, like, talking about kissing, but they, like, won't.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, they keep saying it's on sickness, and I'm like...
Well, that might be true, but... No, but, like, I think, like, the last text he sent was like, okay, it's your turn to kiss me, or whatever. I'm like, you never kissed her. Like, what are you talking about?
Why is it your turn?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was me, and she's like...
Well, there's another dude that she was into, and he's into her. But then she was mad that he had a roster, as if Megan didn't have a roster, and I'm like, whatever, that's fine. But
yeah,
she got over that.
Hey, yeah.
She's moving on.
We got a mic because when I was editing this, there's just like these long pauses where no one can hear anything.
I know.
And then you're like talking, and you hear us go like, yeah. And then everyone on the pause like, what?
You can just repeat what I say.
Okay.
If you like it.
I can't remember what you said, so.
It's okay. Then.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so she's like trying to figure that whole situation out, and I don't know, it's a whole
yeah,
thing
that's hard.
Yeah, but I told her, I was like, Megan, you just got like you can't commit to this one guy. Like he's obviously not that like into you yet.
Yeah.
Not that you're not worth being into, just like he's not there.
He's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, move on, go date these other guys, and if he comes back around, maybe it works out. But
it's like better to date someone that likes you compared to holding on to someone that you think is attractive, but like has nothing, like doesn't like you. You know?
Yeah. Like you don't want to be forcing like to get this guy fully in.
Yeah.
You know, like he either gonna want to or he's not. Like
and
no one's like fully in right off the bat, but he's got to at least be like interested in trying to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
So
nice.
Tough life for Megan up there.
Yeah. Eventually.
But yeah, so we have a lot of family up there. So she's up there, my grandparents. I have a couple uncles, an aunt. So like basically my dad's side of the family all lives there.
Okay. So you go visit all them?
Yeah. So we travel up there a lot.
That's nice.
Yeah. It's all right. But summer's good up there. I like summer.
Oh yeah.
I just hate winter up there.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah, I can't do. Would never live up there.
Yeah. So. We went up there in February a few years ago. I was like, this is freezing.
Yeah.
I don't want to be back here.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's like the exact opposite of here. Like, where we have like 3 months of like brutal heat and then like good weather. They have like 3 months of good weather and then brutal cold.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the year.
That's so fast.
I'm like, I'm okay.
We have friends that love it, but it's because they like snowboard, ski, like they do stuff in the snow. So they're like.
But they're like, that's the only time it's ever fun. Other than that, it's like they're in their apartment and it sucks.
Yeah.
It's like what they tell us. Like, unless they're snowboarding or skiing, it's
boring.
miserable.
Yeah.
The two I hear is the like the winter sports and the I look better in, like, winter fashion. You know, like jackets and pants.
That's a real thing, though.
Yeah, I mean, it
I
is.
feel like it's
it
a
is
real-
a vibe. I do like winter fashion for sure.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're all cozy and you got layers.
Yeah, I get that.
I feel like it's hard to date though in Rexburg when everyone's layered up. You know,
Why?
because everyone looks the same. All you see is like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, look, you're like, wow, you got nice eyes.
The summer comes around, you're like, whoa,
Yeah,
hi.
you're like, who was I hanging out with?
It's the COVID times with the mask.
The mask.
Yeah, it's like your eyes are very deceptive.
You got good looking eyes.
Yeah, your eyes are looking real nice. But yeah, Rexburg's like even worse because it's so windy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, cold and windy. The wind is
Yeah,
it's where it sucks.
Yeah.
like at least where my grandparents live, it's not like it's cold, but it's not like brutally windy all the time. Or even like Provo or like Salt Lake,
Yeah.
like it's cold. They get snow, but it's not like brutal.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
get that.
But then Rexburg's like on a mountain where the wind just like whips through, and you're just like you're just dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Makes sense.
so you both served missions,
Yep.
right? You like that hardcore transition?
Yeah,
change?
great
you like
transition.
that? So, Kay, you served in
Boston.
Boston. You served in Virginia,
Yeah.
or some sort of like.
Yeah.
Because I know Virginia
So-
covers some different areas.
It was just Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. Okay.
So that was basically it.
So just Northern Virginia. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, how was that? I know, I mean, obviously we've talked about it before too, but like, what were some things you kind of like learned, gained from it? Felt like were your big takeaways? But yeah, what was your experience like there in your
You want
mission?
to go?
I think for me, the biggest takeaways was, I don't know, growing up like in the church, I think everyone kind of seems, I don't know, at least for me, it was like, oh, like everyone knows everything about the church and you know, like the primary answers and you know, like the basics of it.
Right.
But for me, like I grew up in a family that wasn't like super active.
Yeah.
Just like recent converts and just kind of like fall away a little bit. So for me, I think I really got a testimony on my mission. Because I think before I like didn't actually have one. I didn't know all like the basic answers.
Yeah.
But then on my mission, like it helped me get the basic like foundation of like what it is to be a Christian in general. And then of course like the like testimony of the Book of Mormon, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was just gaining a relationship with God and with Jesus Christ and like actually knowing what that means.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the biggest things, like one of the biggest things that the mission taught me. And then as far as just like a worldly thing, it was like knowing how to grow up and like do things on your own.
Right.
Like no one was there to tell you, oh, you have to go do this like every day. It was just like you and your companion, you had to like make that decision for yourself. And I think in life, that's like the biggest thing. Like no one's there like nudging you every day to do something. And you just have to like get up and decide you have to do it.
Right.
So I think that's like, I would say the two biggest things I probably learned or gained from it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like mine, I don't know. Sometimes I think like, what did I learn? Because mine ended up being a year of COVID. And
Right.
like everyone talks about like COVID missions, how they're very different, but like,
You came home right at the end of, like, before COVID even started, right?
Yeah,
Right.
March 2020.
Because you were almost done, right?
Yep. So
well, kind of.
Kind of.
yeah, kind of. I was at 19 months.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I have asthma, and they were sending everyone with asthma and diabetes home.
Yeah, that's right.
So they weren't really giving you an option.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning they did, but it was like a 1 day span where they're like, oh, actually, yeah, you have no option. You're going home.
Yeah.
And it was either that or I would wait another transfer. And then they were sending all elders at 21 months home anyways in the States. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, it was like March. And then that's when like COVID like blew up after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Sorry.
No, you're
No,
totally
yeah.
fine. So mine was like a COVID mission the second half of the year. I had 6 months out, almost 6 months out,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the year was in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very different experience because you go from seeing tons of people and feeling like you're working
Right.
And then being stuck in was just a really, like, no one felt like they were actually progressing or, like, teaching anyone or, like, making a difference. Like, I would watch you, Matt, doing your, what's it called, like, service mission.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, he's doing way more than I am. Like, that's crazy. I could go home and do a service mission and do way more than what I'm doing out here.
Right.
But I think what I learned is, like, you're not always, every mission is so different, and, like, what you're sent out to do is so different. And I felt like part of my mission was sent out to, like, be there for people that maybe don't have, like, the ability to be around people all the time. Like, because we were locked in, we were, like, just stuck by ourselves, me and my companion, and it felt so lonely, like, everyone was lonely.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's other people that feel this all the time that don't have, like, family members in their home or, like, widows or whatever it is.
Right.
And so I had to learn to be there more for, like, my direct companion who might be struggling, or my, like, I don't know, or like a widow in the ward that we would do Zoom calls with, or another family. Like, so I think the focus had to be more on individuals and less teaching, because people weren't really wanting to learn through a Zoom call or through a phone call as much as being there for people that maybe were feeling a little alone or missing the atmosphere of going to church, or maybe like the certain things.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the focus just was like
shifting.
More on how do we help them in their needs right now.
Yeah.
And then maybe a sprinkle of the gospel in there.
Yeah, and like we did teach them gospel, and like that's what brought them to fulfill their needs.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like
it had to start somewhere else.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, COVID was, I don't know, it was very like, I don't know, there's a lot of sucky parts to it.
Yeah.
But I also do think, like, especially in the mission realm, it definitely forced a lot of, like, at least even in the service mission, I felt like you had to really kind of think about, like, you really had to go to the Lord and ask him, like, okay, what do you need me to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, the typical stuff wasn't necessarily available as much, or it was just different. Yep. And so I was like, Lord, like, okay, this doesn't make sense. I can't go out and, like, go into people's houses, or I can't, like, even in the service mission, can't go to, like, the food bank or whatever.
Yep.
So, like, what can I do? Like, what do you need from me? Mm-hmm. So it forced a lot of people to kind of, like, get really, like, specific with the Lord on, like, what's my mission here?
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing.
I think also, like, on a normal mission, because I did do a little bit out,
mm-hmm.
you get so distracted by being busy
that
you don't realize your own loneliness or your own, like, struggles in yourself as a missionary, because it's very lonely. Like, it's a very different experience than an 18-year-old has ever felt, you know? And so, so when you're now in COVID, you have so much time to think about yourself, and usually that's not in a mission. Like, you have so much time to think about other people.
Right.
So you have to really learn to put yourself aside and, like, keep teaching or keep helping other people even when you're at a low point or, like, a lonely point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, most of the time when people, like, if you, like, go to the mission president, you're like, oh, I'm feeling, like, really homesick, or I'm feeling really, like, depressed. Like, they're like, okay, we'll get busier.
Yeah,
like,
go work.
Get out there and help more people.
Yeah, that's
you know?
true.
So
Mm-hmm.
now they're like, when you say that, it's like, okay, well, stay in your apartment and get on Facebook.
Yeah, and you're like, okay.
You're like, sure. Yeah, no, that's true. But that's, like, also, I don't know. I've told a lot of people this, and I think a lot of it depends on the mission president. Kels, it's still recording up there? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Did you turn to cinematic?
You did, yeah.
Okay, good, because that keeps it running. Oh, sorry. I was just, like, bugging me in the back of my head. So, now that I clear that off, I can think clearly. But I've told a lot of people, and I think it depends a lot on the mission president and, like, who you get there on kind of the dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, especially in Proselyte, I think there's such a structure and system to it from the past, like, however many, like, I think they've been running for 100, 150 years of missionary work. I think it was 200, actually. 200 years of missionary work. But, you know, there's, like, such a culture of how it's, like, been brought up and from years of doing it that sometimes for the, like, sometimes I've heard a lot of missionaries say it's like the emphasis in their mission was more on, you know, just go out, find people, baptize, you know, get them into the gospel. But it wasn't as much about their personal, like, conversion and coming closer to their Savior. And so, and they would, like, say, like, I wish, like, that had been equally emphasized.
Yep.
Because, you know, it's like if we really were just about bringing people to get baptized, like, you wouldn't send 18-year-olds out. You know, we'd be saying, like, you know, like the President Nelson's out there. You know, like, they're going to have probably a better track record than, you know, the 18-year-olds. Yeah. But but at the same time, it's like we want these young adults like becoming more converted themselves, kind of like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you build that foundation. So I think that's like one good thing from COVID too is like, you know, it kind of forced maybe some of that to be brought up more about you know, taking that time. But yeah, I don't know what your guys' mission presence and dynamics were in your mission, but was that kind of the dynamics? Was it pretty? I mean, I only served a week in Florida, so I can't really say what the dynamic was per se.
He was really close with his mission president, so he knows a lot about his mindset.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think the mindset, I think it's hard because, I think he definitely was honest to be like, oh, like, the most important convert on your mission is yourself. Cool. Like, that's what he would say a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But I also think he was a very numbers guy. Like, was in, like, higher up, like IBM, and like just did a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So he just liked,
he liked the data of it.
Yeah, he liked the statistics. So it's like, if you teach this many people, you're going to do this and this and this, and then baptize this many people.
Right.
So it was kind of hard because he pushed that a lot. So it always felt like it was about that, game, and it was just a numbers game, and it wasn't like as much as he was a very caring person, it's hard to be like, thinking about the numbers because that makes sense.
Right.
But then also it makes sense to think people as like they're an actual person. What do they need? They don't, you know, they don't need to just be forced down this path because we think so.
Right.
So I think it was hard, but I definitely think that he did a good like job of balancing it out. Like, we're here to teach people and baptize them, but you're also here for yourself.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good balance, I would think.
Yeah, I think it's also up to yourself. Like, your mission president can push whatever he wants to push, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're not taking the time to either learn from your own experiences, then I don't think you're going to be fully converted. Or if you're not taking the time to, like, actually dive in and, like, learn about the Savior, then you're not going to. Like, get that testimony as much. Like, it's really up to you.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah,
that's true, because there's a lot of missionaries, and like we've talked about this, that there's like all these missionaries that were known for baptizing, and they were like these like great missionaries, but then I like follow them on social media, and they're like not part of the church, or like they don't do church. They don't keep church standards.
Right.
And it's like whatever, you know, it's like their choice, but it's just funny that they went on a mission, did what they were supposed to, but they were probably more so focused on the baptizing, bringing people, and didn't focus on themselves more. And I guess it kind of shows after the mission what you focused on.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense too, because that's like, I don't know, I feel like if you don't really ever emphasize the personal conversion in your mission, then, like, you know, I wouldn't say that. No hating on the church programs, but I wouldn't say they're not I wouldn't say their strong part is the post mission, like, get back part. You know, it's kind of like you get back and it's like, well, good luck, get married, live your life. You know, you know, like, that's not like they don't really have a great post mission, and that's not like hating on them. I just like, even in working with them, that's always been like, they're always trying to figure out, like, how do we get this post mission thing down better, because we don't really have a good system, and but yeah, and so if you don't do the personal conversion part much, or it's not emphasized, I think a lot of people, you know, they go out and, like, you're living this very structured, kind of in a bubble type mission world, where it's not necessarily easy to feel the Spirit, but it's set up to help you, like, feel the Spirit and have these moments, right? And you're around people who are also having that, so you're just kind of in this bubble.
Yeah.
And so you have all these great experiences, and then you build this kind of foundation on this different world you're living in.
Yeah.
And so if you don't build those personal conversion habits of, like, this is how I'm going to continue, and this is why I know it, then you leave that little world and you get back to the normal world, and it's like, whoa, this is not the same at all.
Yeah.
And so you're like, I don't even know how to be that person anymore. So you just kind of go back to whoever you were before.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, so I think that's why it's, like, important that, so that's cool that you're, like, Mr. President, you know, he valued the numbers, but he also, like, emphasized that. And I think, because even with the numbers, like, because I like, a lot of missionaries will say, like, that stressed them out, whereas, like, You know, because you may like go and teach somebody, but maybe you're just like planting a seed that someone else is like gonna be the one to follow that through on. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's just like the plan that they like. That's just the Lord's plan for them. You know, so like putting it in a number sense can be hard because it's like, oh man, like if I was better, I could get this, you know, signed, sealed, delivered, and make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like maybe that's just not the thing for them. You know?
Yeah. And my mission president, I think when you brought that up about planting seeds and all that, I don't know if it's just more so the times that we're in, but in my mission, it was like it was not about planting seeds. Like
right.
that was a very like
if you almost.
Yeah, if you were like, oh, I'm planting seeds, like for a certain situation you were in, at least for our mission president, like it was like we're not here to plant seeds. That's kind of thing.
That's interesting because mine was about planting seeds. Yeah. And we were just like right after each other. Like in time wise, but it wasn't my mission president. It was the timing of like, you're not out teaching as much as you are like being on social media, like posting on Facebook. Like you're showing people that we're here and we're willing to teach you. It's like planting those seeds. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like it's different how we overlapped, but not like.
Yeah. For us, it was very much like seeds have been planted. Like go find the ones that were planted a while back. Yeah. Go harvest. It's like it's ready to harvest kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like, like you said, if you were like, oh, well, we're planting seeds, it was like just an excuse for not getting the work done. Like that's what it was looked at.
See, that's the thing, especially with like service missions. Like that's all service missions was like you're out here planting seeds and helping people and like connecting with them on a deeper level, and then you know, so that then they might be influenced to go and like, learn more about the gospel or come to Christ. So it's like, it really varies on what you're doing and like who the mission president is, and I don't know. I just think a lot of missionaries I think struggle with like the harsh, like the numbers and just make this happen because it's, I don't know, it's like it never is really exactly that way.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to. Because I feel like missionary work, sometimes they say you can't measure how your success in missionary work, but then you put numbers on it, it's very easy to measure it. So if like you're not hitting the numbers, it's like, well, you're failing.
Right. And they ask you every week.
Like, and they ask you every week, and it's like accountability, and that accountability, like the anxiety that builds up to be like, oh, like we didn't get those numbers. Right. So they must think that we're not doing the right thing.
Right.
And you're saying it in front of other missionaries. Like companionships. So you're like, if they say they found 2 people to teach and you have 0, like you feel like you're not doing anything, but you are in 2 different areas. Like, I don't know, it's just so different, you know?
Yeah, and then
you start questioning your abilities. You're like maybe I just don't know what I'm doing, or maybe I'm not a good like teacher.
Yeah, or like I shouldn't be here. I'm not doing the right things, like something. But it almost gives the attitude, like what you were saying, that if you know the accountability is coming up, that people would like lie and just be like, we found this many people, or we made this many contacts, and
or it's like
whatever.
I started teaching them, but like I don't know. I'm not saying anyone like lied or anything. Like I'm just saying like there's just that pressure of like, well, yeah, we started teaching them, but really they don't even know they were being taught. Like you know what I mean? You just taught them a little like I don't know.
Like you start stretching what it should be just to kind of hit the numbers.
Yeah, like we told him about like Joseph Smith in conversation briefly for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And that was a lesson. Yeah.
And you're like, was it though? Like they were just like, oh, cool.
Yeah, they didn't even take the book.
You got their number and that's it.
Yeah. They're in the area book now.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely, I don't know. I get that like just in conversations with people. And especially people who came like home and did service missions, like that was a common theme for a lot of them was like, I just felt like the pressure was like hard, or I got really anxious by all the like numbers or things like that. So I don't know. It's like it has its place, but it's hard to like. I think it's with those things, it's really easy to take it overboard, and then everyone's like, because people get competitive too, right? And people hear things and like. You get some elders that's like, or sisters that's like, oh, they're doing so good, and then everyone compares themselves to that. So there's just a lot of ways it just kind of can get kind of difficult. But with you guys, because you guys have like, well, we've all known each other for a while. I mean, what, like
Freshman year.
Yeah, freshman year.
Well, that's
like
when
that.
I came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Did
about
go to
you
school for
guys.
junior high?
Only 7th grade.
7th grade?
Yeah.
Okay. So we probably knew each other in 7th grade-ish.
Yeah, maybe.
Ish.
Yeah, we probably knew
Of each other.
Knew of each
Knew
other.
of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just say freshman year. So I don't know how many years that is, like 10 or something like that.
9 or 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
9
9
or
or
10
10 almost. Yeah.
And then you guys have like dated, and then now you're married and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
like, what worked for you guys? Like, what's been like now you guys are married and stuff? Like, what works for you guys? Like, how did going from dating to then marriage, like relationship wise, how's that work? And how's like what are you guys seeing as like successful for your guys' partnership?
Like now that we're married, or like
Yeah, both.
Like
what's worked along the way.
Yeah, like what's worked along the way to kind of keep it going, and then like now you're married, because like a lot of times I think especially for like young people, they get into something and like maybe for a few months it's fun and it's energetic, it's like ooh, it's nice and shiny, it's a new
I
thing,
get you.
but then it like fizzles, right?
Yeah.
Or just like it doesn't sustain. So like obviously you guys have dated for like a long time, and then you guys are now married, so like what continue to keep it going, but then like what's worked for you now that you're married and all that.
Well, I'll say something about like back in the day, like a couple of years back. Okay. I think I would say, I mean, there was times that we took like little breaks of like putting a label on it or like fully being always together.
Yeah.
For me, it was always like, I guess I have a mindset of like, I don't know what the saying is, like, something about like you only know if you love someone and or you only know if you love something until you don't have it, kind of thing.
Right. It's like if you love it, let it go. If it comes back, or like if it was yours, it'll come back. If it,
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
yours or whatever.
So I think I had the mentality of like, if like we really truly love each other, or if we want to be with each other, like if we're not with each other, how do you feel? And so there was a lot of times, like after high school on the mission, that it's like, if I wasn't thinking about her, or if I wasn't like, if that had been the case, then I would know that I'm like, oh, then I don't miss being with her.
Right.
But it was the opposite. It was like, oh, I want to like talk to her. I want to be with her. I miss the times we had. Yeah. So that was kind of like an indicator, at least for me, that I was like, oh, like I enjoy being with her and I love being with her. Right. So it's kind of that mentality a little bit too, because we like, I guess, broke up before I left on my mission. Yep. We were just like, you can date whoever you want, you can do whatever. Was it like a mutual breakup, or like one did it to the other, or like?
No, it was mutual because he was leaving.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go a year with waiting. Like we weren't planning on waiting for each other.
Yeah. Right. So we were just like, if it's meant to be, then obviously we'll both be around. Right. And we both had that mentality. So I think that was a good mentality for us, because it meant that we weren't both actively just trying to wait. It meant we were both, I don't know if we were actively trying to find someone else. At least I wasn't actively like, well, is there someone else, like.
But you're keeping yourself open to.
Yeah, I was keeping myself open, like going on dates, talking to people. Like I wouldn't turn people away just because I was like, oh, I'm waiting for Katie to get home. Yeah. Because it was like, you never know. Right. And for me, it was like, if I keep myself open and she comes home and I still am like, well, like, not that it didn't work out with anyone else, so let me just go back to this. It was more so of just like I tried and I didn't find anyone that I clicked like that. I didn't, Yeah, if it like works and we come back together and it's there still, then like it's meant to be, right? Or it's kind of that like meant to be thing, or like we can make this work, like kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things to it. Like first we built our relationship on a friendship, and that included like I look back to when we started dating junior year, and I'm like, we feel like we didn't know each other, but we knew a lot about each other, more than what I probably think now. Yeah. But it's like, because we already had a friendship, we were able to build on that. And I feel like also, like, we never took our relationship so seriously that, like, we had the idea of marriage. Like, that's a really weird mindset, because I feel like now everyone's like, oh, I can marry this person. Right. And I think that's a fine mindset, because you want to have that idea of one day getting married. But I think because we never took it seriously, it was like, obviously it was serious. I'm not saying it wasn't serious. I'm saying, like, we never took it seriously, like, we have to get married or it's a failed friendship, a failed relationship, whatever.
Right.
So we never thought, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
I feel like we didn't put a lot of pressure on it.
Yes, that's, no pressure on it. Like, when he was on his mission, it was no pressure of, like, what if I find someone else? Or what if we do end up together? Just kind of was like, if it works out, it does. Mm-hmm. And along the way was never pressure of, like, we have to click or it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like,
and we also didn't have pressure of, like, having to talk to each other, like, on the mission. Like, when we were away from each other, it was just, like, every once in a while we talk and, like, we just kind of let it be natural and just, I don't know.
But I think because there was a lot of pressure also, like, we didn't feel like we had to talk on the mission. We didn't talk a whole lot. We kind of just let each other be. And then naturally we were just, like, had a lot of things in common. I think that's really important in your relationship. Like, if you don't have things in common, especially now that we're married, it's like... You
do.
Yeah, like, they come out a lot because you're two different people. But it's like we have things in common of, like, we both enjoy sports. We both enjoy the same type of shows. Like, the things that we enjoy doing... we can do with each other compared to separately.
Yeah, I think that's what's helped to keep it, like you're saying, like, oh, it's something new, and it's like, and then after time, like, certain things just get old. I think that's what's helped us, is that it's more than just, like, being in a relationship, like a marriage. It's more just, like, being a friendship where, like, if you're friends with someone, it's like, as long as you have things in common, you, like, hang out, you play sports together, you watch shows together, you go out to eat, and it's like all those little things, because we enjoy doing those things. It's like every day is like something new. It's like, oh yeah, let's go do this, like, it's, you can make it fun if you both enjoy doing those same things.
Right. Well, and I think that's, like, so many people rush that process now because they are like you said, just looking for that marriage button. And, like, that idea of, oh, I want to marry this person comes into the thought, like, week 2.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're, like, on this fast track to try and make it happen. But, I don't know, at least for me, like, most of the girls I've dated pretty seriously, like, within 6 months, you know, like, they're kind of, like, it just didn't mesh. Like, we had a really good thing going. And that's, like, a lot of friendships, right? You get into a friendship, you kind of get to know them, it works really good. But then, like, you know, there's always, like, a period where both are kind of being, you know, accommodating to each other because you want to, like, make it work and you want to be cordial and nice. And then after a while, it's like you get really comfortable and you're like, your kind of true colors start to come through. And then you're like, oh, this just doesn't fit. Like, like, your personality doesn't quite fit mine. I don't quite fit yours. And nothing's perfect, right? But, like, a lot of, like, girls that I've dated, at least seriously, 6 months, it was like, whoa. This is not, like, it's not compatible, like, we're just different people. And so, I always get, like, a little alarmed when I have friends who's, like, a month and a half, 2 months, and they're, like, just met the girl or met the guy, and they're jumping into it, and I'm like, whoa. Or especially if they've only dated, like, a couple people, too. And it's, like, the second person they've ever dated, and I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, like, rush, Not that they're rushing, everyone's timing is different, but I think 6 months is a great... I feel like at our 6 month mark back in high school, because again, I think that's what helped it not be pressure. We're like 17. You know what I mean? Like, there's no rush to get married. And, like,
you can't.
We can't. So, but at 6 months, it was like, wait, you know what I mean? You kind of, like, step back from, like, the exciting moments, and it's more real. So, I think that's a good mark of, like, if you can make it 6 months and you're still super happy with each other, like, that's awesome. Because that doesn't always happen.
Right.
After 6 months.
Yeah, I feel like 6 is, like, the fizzle point. It's like either you're, like, you really enjoy their company at 6 months, or you're like, I'm done. I gotta move on. You know? Or it's, like, one or the other. Like, one person's, like, they're like, this is awesome, or the other's like, I gotta move on.
Yeah.
It's true.
I also think another important thing is, like, taking the gospel into your relationship in the aspect of, I'm not saying, like, you have to read the Book of Mormon and, like, all the things together. I'm more talking, like, make sure you're on the same level or on the same idea of the gospel, because there can be people that are like, I'm not trying to say, but, like, I don't miss a day of church.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And if this person grew up maybe missing a few days here and there, like, it's not, like, it's important, but, like, it's not the end of the world. then that can cause some friction or,
Yeah.
like one person feels like they have to give more than the other. But I feel like having the same idea of how you're going to take the gospel into your life and into the future is important because everyone's a little different. Like, it's not as straightforward
Yeah.
in everyone's life. Or does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like those core values. Like,
Yeah.
if your core values, because there's like things where I think we all like can kind of give on. It's
Yeah.
like I really like this or I care about this, but it's not like end of the world if it changes.
Yeah.
But then there's like these foundational like core principles. So like if your family was like, we always go to church, we never miss.
Yeah.
And that's like one thing you're like super adamant on.
Yeah.
And you marry, like, get with someone who's like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it will constantly be
A battle.
a friction thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely, like, aligning those core foundations. And you
Yeah.
can build on that from there, too. Like,
Yeah, and that's just one example. It could also be like family prayer, like whatever it is that you grew up doing that might be super important to you, but like you want to find that in a spouse also because if they're
right.
do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you don't want to spend, and I think it's even like not even just in our like faith, like if whatever
any
your
faith
values are, and so because that's the one hard part is like I think people get like especially in our religion sometimes people feel like, oh, I have to go I got to go marry a member because that's like it's frowned upon if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's like the point. I think it's more like you don't want in your marriage to feel like you're constantly dragging somebody to do something they don't want to do. Yeah. And they're going to also not want to feel like they're being a burden to you.
Yeah.
Because over time, like, that just never ends well.
Yeah.
And that's not just, like, with the church. It's, like, anything.
Yeah, anything.
You know, if you have this really strong work ethic and they have none, like, that's probably not going to work. Because you don't want to constantly be like, hey, come on, let's go do something. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you just have to be okay with them not doing it and you doing it.
Right.
And that could work too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could work.
Yeah.
Just as what you want.
Exactly. Like, you got to be okay with
either
them being them or, that's a good point. That's a good point. So would you guys say, like, and it sounds like you guys are pretty, like, similar in a lot of, like, you have a lot of the same interests, same, because a lot of people often say, like, opposites attract. Would you say, like, that's the case in yours, or is it, like, mostly similarities?
I think we've honestly, as much as we've known each other for so long, I think we've even now have been like, oh, I didn't know that we've had those similarities. Or like, we'll realize it, like, we'll be talking about, like, something, and we'll be like, yeah, like, that's true. Like, we both like talking about that.
Yeah.
So I think,
similarities, I think, is more
I think similarities will help with the long term.
Yep.
More than the opposites. I think maybe the opposites, it's like short term, right? You have someone who's really loud and outgoing. You have like
and it can be fun.
And it can be fun because then the quiet one's like, oh, this is like kind of fun, you know?
Bring me out.
Yeah. And then the loud person be like, oh, it's kind of toning me down every once in a while, so it's kind of nice and this and that. But then eventually you want to be who you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be who you want to be if the other person's like taking you in the opposite direction.
Yeah. I feel like it only works if that opposite is like a strength and it brings value to it. So like maybe I'm a really like unorganized person and the other person's a really organized person, and so together it like makes us both like it helps, right?
Yeah.
But I agree. I think if you're just complete polar opposites, it's like
I think it can be hard.
Yeah.
But that's just because we are more similar, and it's been easier because we're similar.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. So, what? Because I've always thought like you guys, I've always seen like you have a solid like work ethic, like even in just stuff we did in like high school and like hanging out, like you know you like talk to some people, you're like wow, like I cannot get them to do anything, you know. But like we did a bunch of stuff where it was like you guys were always like down to help or getting engaged and active in things. And you mentioned this too, and like in that little questionnaire thing, you talked about how like you've like one of your proudest things like having like gone through it and worked hard and like built something up. So like what kind of gives you guys that drive? What like motivates you guys to get up and go and do and accomplish? And because I think a lot of people, it's like they may want to do something, or they may have that like little twinkling in the back of their head of, oh yeah, like that'd be nice to make something happen there, but then they don't do it.
Yeah.
Or like something holds them back. So what motivates you guys? And what pushes you?
I think for me, the biggest thing that motivates me is that I didn't have like, at least growing up, I didn't have like this, I guess like with the friends that I had around me, I like look in their family life and like what their parents were able to give them and like what situations they were put in.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't have a lot of the normal things. I mean, the biggest thing is, I feel like the obvious one is like the fact that my family comes from like a Mexican background.
Yeah.
And the fact that my parents were like the first ones to like come to the US.
Yeah.
So it's obviously like a whole different dynamic of them getting on their feet and like building something.
Yeah.
And as much as like they worked hard and they gave a lot to it, I think for me the biggest motivator is that like I saw other people that had a certain lifestyle or were able to do certain things.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, well, like I'm hanging around these people. Like, why can't I go and do and have just as much as other people are having? So I feel like for me, it's like that's a big motivator, is like just trying to have a better lifestyle than I did growing up, so that one day I can like give it back to my own family.
Right. Build up that kind of next level.
Yeah, and I think another thing that maybe some people, like, I don't know if you can like get it or just like learn it, is like not being complacent.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just never been complacent and like just being like, oh, okay, like I'm good where I'm at. And because I'm not complacent, it's made me be like I need to keep going for more. Like there's more to get and I want to go get that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of people that can come from like a lower income family and then they can just be complacent, like, oh, this is just how it is. This is how the world works.
Right.
And then they just keep getting the cycle going and they never get out of that cycle. And I guess for me, it's like, I don't want to be in that cycle.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that motivates me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just fear of like not being like the same spot that I am like in 50 years of being like, oh, still got to work, like, or whatever. So.
Yeah, I think it's the idea of wanting success. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to just be the average person that just does their normal stuff. Like, you want to make something of yourself, find yourself successful. Like, I just think it's important to push yourself further, and I think the only way to do that is by motivating yourself to keep working and do the best that you can.
Right. Yeah.
You do that with your work. Like, you always want to do more.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mindset that helps you be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it's definitely like, I don't know. And maybe, it is hard to term, because like sometimes I think about it as like, is it a fear? Is it like a fear of not reaching that goal, or like, I don't know, but because that's the hard thing, is like, but then you look back too and you're like, you see where you're at versus where you were, and you're like, well, I accomplished more than what I even thought back then that I would, per se, you know, but then it's like, but I know I can do more, you know, so it's like almost like a lack of contentment, but also like a bit of a fear, you know, it's like, it's a bit of both. I don't know, it's kind of weird combination. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys like, because like obviously you said like your parents like came to the U.S. like kind of first generation here, and obviously hard workers, like trying to like figuring it out, making it happen. I'm assuming kind of not, well, obviously not from Mexico, first generation here, but like what was kind of the, like, did your families kind of instill that hard work, like you go out and work hard and make something happen kind of attitude, or was it kind of just like, was this something that you guys saw in others that you know, what kind of pulled it out in you guys per se?
I think I see it. Sorry. I think I see in my parents, my dad isn't even working right now and he's 48. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't even have a job and he's doing totally fine. Like, I think it ends up being like he wanted to have more than, again, like he wanted to have more. And so I look at that as like, is setting a way that can be successful without being average or having an average job or doing the normal thing. And I also want to say, like, seeing people, I love watching YouTube and watching like business owners, because they're paving a way that's completely different.
Right.
And it's successful. And I'm like, that's insane that they are doing something that's not common.
Yeah.
And that's what motivates me. I'm like, if other people can be doing it, like, why can't we create something that's different and be successful at it?
Yeah.
I think that's what gets me to want to do more, more like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think for me, it's like that, like it just comes back to like where my family came from. Like I look at aunts and uncles and things like that they have the same opportunity. They come and visit here and they hang out and it's like a vacation for them, but they could come and do it, but they just like
choose not to.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard because it's like you leave your family, like that's not easy to do by any means.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like my parents did it. So it's like I've left family to go work or do something.
Yeah.
That was out of the ordinary. That wasn't like a for sure thing. But that's what my parents did. Like it wasn't a for sure thing to come here and that it was going to work out. It was just like it was just a jump that they took.
Yeah.
And it was like, let's hope it works out. And I think a lot of times it's just what you have to do is you just have to go and
take the risk.
Take the risk and do it.
And also, like, we're so young. Like,
some
we're
people
23.
are so risk adverse, though.
What does that mean?
Like, they're just, like, scared of risk.
Oh,
it's like,
you
know what I'm saying? Sorry, you're saying about
no,
we're so young.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Like, we're so young. Like, if you take a risk and it doesn't work out, like, you have recovery time. And that's what my parents always say, too. Like, don't be afraid of the risk because you can pick yourself back up. But, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what is, like, the worst thing is, I guess not the worst thing, but never mind. I lost the train of thought.
I mean, but it's true because we're going to make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Life's full of mistakes and like risks. But yeah, I think people choke at the risk because they're like, it's not worth it. I couldn't do that. But like, what really is the risk?
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes people inflate the risk a little much.
It's true.
You know, because like whether they're embarrassed by it or like, oh, that might look bad or I might this, might that. But it's like whatever, right?
But then it goes back to, is it even a risk or is it more like your idea of not looking good enough or failing or
right?
You know, like people are afraid to start something new because they don't want people to look at them and think, why are they doing that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just like...
And half the time it's like people aren't even looking.
Yeah, no one cares what you're doing.
No one's watching, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, people get so nervous sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I just don't, I mean, and part of it's a habit too. Like, I think the more risks you take, the more you're like, okay, like, you know, because especially if you take a risk and it pans out a little, like, it's almost addicting. You're like,
it is.
That worked out. Okay, maybe I'll do something. Well, maybe I'll do another one.
Try it again.
You know, let's shoot this shot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you don't ever do it, then you just kind of live in this little bubble of not trying things.
Or like what ifs.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I don't want to live with.
Yeah.
Like that regret, and I think that's what pushes me more. I don't want to be like with 5 kids wishing I had done something when I was this age, you know? Like,
right.
I don't want to be there.
That's true. Wondering like, what if what if I shot the shot? Maybe I could have, Yeah.
It's like with your job, he talks all the time, like, his job is not hard, but people are afraid to do it because they think it's hard.
Right.
Or, like, they think it's a risk, but it's like, you know how many people do door-to-door sales and make great money? Mm-hmm. And it's like, but they just think their 9 to 5 is making more. You know what I mean? It's just, it's different.
Yeah. I think that's like when the whole, like, trying to be complacent, and that's where, I don't understand it, where people are like, oh, I'm just going to be complacent and go, like, do the normal job. But I'm like, this is, like, no... I don't really think it's any different than like a normal job.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's any different as like one job can be from a different job, but it's like you go out and door to door. It's like you go out and you talk to random people, and you get some people that are nice to you, you get some people that are mean to you, or some people that don't care to really hear what you're saying. But it's like I feel like you get that
in customer service,
in really any job you have. Like if you work at the grocery store, if you work at the tire shop, like a mechanic shop, like you're going to get people that are mad at you, that don't like what you're doing, that don't like the way you're doing it. Yeah. And like all of this stuff. And I'm just like, at least for me, there's sometimes with certain jobs, there's more opportunity in those jobs by still doing the same amount of things. Yeah. Like I just look at close friends and I'm like, I'm working probably 50% the hours that they are, but making like twice as much as they're making.
Yeah.
So it's like, sometimes I like, don't get it, but like you said, it's that risk of having something stable. I think is the other thing too when it comes to income is like, it's not as stable, but if you work hard at it, like you can.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that was the thing with, I was watching this, it was like a fitness podcast or something, but they were talking about aging, like as you age, like they're correlating aging is like rapid, is like rapid comfortability. So like, you're like, because if you think about it, it's like you get older, like you stop working out, you stop, you stop going out, you stop, eating right, you stop, you just, you sit in your chair, so you're rapidly just getting more and more comfortable, and that's why you're like just dying. Yeah. I think that's with everything in life. It's like, people want to be secure, they want to be comfortable, they don't want to like go out, and so, but it really is like it kills you from all these other opportunities, and that's like that's the thing, like, because currently I work for the church, and it's not a bad job, like the hours are pretty good, and I get paid decently well for what I'm doing, but like for me, I spent like a year doing it for free, just like serving in what I was doing. And I think a lot of people wonder, like, why did you do that? That was kind of dumb. Like, you just, like, wasted your time. And for me, I was like, well, I just felt like that's what I need to do. And, like, it is what it is. And sure, was it a year I didn't make anything from it? Yeah, it was. But, like, in the long run, I'm like, but it paid off. I learned a lot of things. I've like, met a lot of people through it. And so, yeah, sometimes it's just, like, you gotta like trust yourself, and you gotta trust your gut, and you like gotta take that risk.
Yeah.
But if you just like don't, it's like you never know.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing with my job too. Is like when I first started it was like you just hear a lot of the negatives when you every time you tell somebody like, oh, I'm gonna go do this idea. I feel like
so
people
many haters.
People never are like, oh yeah, that's such a positive thing. It's always like the negatives.
Yeah.
And that's what they want to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened a lot when I first started the job, is that there was just a lot of like negative perceptions of the job. And they're like, no, like it doesn't work. It's not what they're telling you.
Yeah.
And as much as what they were saying had some truth to it, it didn't mean that it couldn't work out.
Right.
And I also think the biggest thing as well is some people think that there's like this fast lane to success and a fast lane to get where you want to be.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, if I compare when I first did it till now, it's like, man, I think to myself, like, why didn't I quit when I first tried it?
Right.
But it was like, you just keep at, like, just choose something, just keep at it, and eventually it's going to work out.
Right.
And that's where it is now. It's like year 4, and like we're doing good.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's never what I thought it would be. It was always like, oh, like, yeah, it's always cool. Like you see all these other people doing it and you're like, yeah, maybe one day, but I'm just not there.
Yeah.
But then before you know it, you just keep at it. You do the little things, and before you know it, you're like, oh wow, I'm like where I was looking up to people and like where they were at.
Yeah. Yeah. The patience and consistency pays off. But like most people don't like hang in there.
Yeah, there's no like the whole like instant gratification.
Yeah.
Like people, I think that's so common now, but people don't.
Well, they see a snapshot.
Yeah, like you don't really get that when you're trying to find real success.
Mm-hmm.
You just do things and you do something and you get nothing out of it. Like you're saying, you did something for a whole year and people are like, why are you doing that? You got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
But now, like, you got something out of it.
Exactly.
You're at least going to be able to use what you learned to do something good for yourself. So I think that's the biggest thing is if you don't see the reward immediately, it doesn't mean it's not working. It's not working. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even the people you see like in the snapshot, they're like, wow, they just took off.
Yeah.
When you like really go and research what they did or look into them, usually they've been doing it for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah.
And then they hit that little blast off point. And I think they get frustrated too because everyone's like, man, you just really like had overnight success. And they're like, really? Because I've been broken trying to figure it out for the past 10 years. And you're just now seeing my overnight success.
It's true.
But rarely it's ever overnight at all.
Yeah.
Do you know Matt and Abby? like Howard. They're like YouTubers, TikTokers.
Matt and Abby. What's their last names?
Howard. They own they have a podcast now.
Do they? Mm-hmm. Where are they from?
They live here.
Oh, they're local. Okay.
But they're not from here, but they live here.
Yeah.
But I always think about them when people mention this. I watch their podcast sometimes, and he was talking about how one day they like blew up on TikTok, and now they're like famous and stuff.
Yeah.
But he said he was trying to get famous on TikTok and stuff forever, and it just was not happening. And he was like, "What the heck?" And then it finally did happen, and it's like people look at them and like, "Oh, like TikTok did it for them." And it's like, no, he's been doing this forever, and it has not happened, and now he's famous and it's working out, and it's like he just never stopped.
Yeah.
If you never stop, like it'll work. So.
I read this one statistic that was talking about podcasts just in general, and they said that like I don't know how many podcasts they said get started a year.
Yeah.
But they said that 99% of podcasts don't make it past 20 episodes.
Really?
And so if you make it past if you make to your 21st episode, you're in the 1% of podcasts that do that. So when I reached 21 episodes, I was like, it's like I'm in the 1%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just thought that was interesting because it's like a lot of people do start something and then it's just like, it's not working. I'm going to move on. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of things that just takes time.
Yeah.
It's true because you see a lot of people that I feel like I know, like in all like aspects of life, whether it's like an athlete or someone's good at a certain job or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Every time you're like, oh, it's like you see so much potential. If they were just to keep going, you're like, dude, you have like natural potential.
Yeah.
And that if you were to just keep building on that natural, like your bottom line is so much higher than everyone else's.
Right.
That if you were just to put effort into it, you'd be way above everybody else.
Yeah. It's like just keep going.
Yeah. Like I see people like that, like I said, just in my job that I'm like, why did they quit? Like they started out way better than I did. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why did they quit? Like they were doing decent.
Yeah.
If they would just put at least another year into it. Yeah. But people don't even want to put 6 months into it or another month.
Right.
But you never know. Like that next month could be your break point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what motivates us a lot too. Like the stuff we do, it's like, well, we never know. Maybe it's this next year. Maybe it's this next year that we blow up. This is like, and we do all the things that we've been.
Great money. Yeah. Do whatever we want to do.
And you got that belief too. It's like that little belief in the back of your head. You're like you believe like we're going to hit it at one point.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think it can. Like, I just think it can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't hear people that's like, oh, I did this for years and nothing ever happened and I decided to go be a nanny. It's like, no. Like, they say I did this for years and now they're doing something they love and they want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they always they always believed, like, even when it wasn't working, they're like, it wasn't working, but I knew I'd get it there. I'd get it to that point. I just knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. But it just takes a lot of failures, and I think people are afraid of too many failures.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been talking with because I coach the girls' basketball team over at Heritage.
Nice.
And this year, I've been talking to the girls a lot about, like, Heritage. We have no swagger. We just never have. Yeah. And so I've been talking to the girls, I'm like, we played this one team, we got beat pretty good. And a lot of it is, we're young, but a lot of it too is like, they have the skills, they just don't have that confidence in themselves yet of like, I know how to play, I can be here, I can show up and I can do it. And so I've just been telling them, like, emphasizing, guys, like, come out here, believe in yourself. Like, we've been training the skills, you have the skills, but you got to believe in your skills.
100%.
And like, that was the thing too. I saw this clip with, it's like Katie or whatever. And he was talking about like playing with his friends and like, he felt like he put in all his effort and work. And, but all his friends were like cooking him like way better. And he was like, I know I'm better than these guys, but like I put in way more work and they still beat me. Yeah. And he was just like, but then he like realized that he didn't believe he was actually good. He believed that all of them, his players, his other teammates were better. And like once he realized and he was like, no, I'm good. Yeah. Then like he just started whooping everybody.
Yeah. Now look at him.
Yeah. Now he's just. Yeah. Now he's on the Suns and we're very happy about that. And, and helping us win games. Yeah. So, Katie, what's the upcoming business?
So, it's something I've been wanting to work on. Well, I have been working on for a while.
Yeah.
And I want to create a clothing business.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm in the... I don't know how much to say, but...
Yeah,
so
you can share whatever you want, and then whenever you launch, we'll bring you back on. It'll be hype.
Okay, well, I'm creating like a journal for something specific. I'm not going to say what.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm creating a journal that's like a guided journal. And so I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then with that, creating a clothing business, because that's what I think is just super, super fun. I see people who own clothing businesses. I'm like, that looks sick. You know, like they're doing some really cool things.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do. And it's in the works.
Yeah.
But hopefully sometime in the beginning of 2024.
That's hype.
It'll be here. So I'm like really excited. It's like I'm at a point where I'm like, right now I'm 23 and this is what I want to do while I'm young before I am a mom and have kids, you know? So it's like, if I can get this done now and I can have this for a long time, like it's my goal and I'm going to make it work. And it's been, I think 3 or 4 years I've been trying, but it'll come.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I think that's awesome.
But owning a business is so hard. Like I saw your dad on his, and he was talking about how like you have to be an accountant and a lawyer or whatever it is. But he was like naming all things, and it's like you have to learn so much, like all the legal stuff, all the accounting stuff, all the just different things, and there's a lot to it. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm wearing all the hats.
Yeah, it's
trying to.
Yesterday we worked on it all day.
Yeah,
like from when we woke up and we like literally went to bed. It was like that's all we were doing, like researching and looking up stuff and making sure we do it all right.
Yeah.
And it's like it felt like we just literally like scraped the top.
Yeah.
And there's like so much to it.
Yeah.
But we're also trying to make sure that we don't overwhelm ourselves to where like it's so much that we're just like gonna quit.
Right.
Yeah.
To make sure that
keep
we
it
at least
bite-sized.
Yeah.
I get that.
We just want to make sure we start it up the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we can get that right, we know there's going to be improvements that happen, of course.
Yeah.
But, dang. That's awesome, though. That's super cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. I think it's cool to see something like you, I don't know, I feel like you see people and they're like, when they make a product, they're like, when you see it in person, like I can't imagine like what the feeling is like when you see something in a store and it's like, oh, like I built that, now it's like here. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so your creations come to fruition.
Yeah.
So I think like we're starting to see a little bit of that with one of the things you're trying to do because it's like more real, like we're talking to people about it and like once it's in a physical form in the stores, it's like
because we're working with the publisher for the journal. So we're working with them right now to get it completed. So it's like exciting.
That's
cool.
super hype.
Yeah.
Well, when that journal's done, let me know because I don't know if I'll be your first buyer, but I'll try to be as your first buyer if I could because that's awesome. That's like that's super cool. Yeah. I always like think about like I don't know. There's just something about creating something, like creating your own thing and seeing it happen and making it happen. Like, and I think that's the one thing that I don't know. I feel bad for some people who like miss out on the opportunity to create something themselves because I just think like like obviously like I just think with like a religious sense like God created us and then like I would think He wants us to learn how to create too. You know?
Yeah.
And so I just think like there's just like something cool about creating something and like making it happen and then seeing it like come to that.
I think it's just about doing something that you've always wanted to do and it just working out and you being proud of it. And that's what happens when you create something. It's like you're proud of what you've accomplished. But it's the same thing when people have like kids. You know, like they created this kid and now they're proud of this kid. Like whatever it is, but you feel like you had a part in making this person who they are or this product what it is or whatever it is, but it's a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, you left an impact in some form. Yeah. Well, I if anyone's going to make a business succeed, it's going to be the two of you. I know that. So
let's hope.
I have full faith, and it's going to be. I'm this hype. I didn't know what it was. Like I saw it on the form, and I was like, oh shoot, coming in 2024 or something. Like I got to find out. So yeah, whenever you launch, we'll have to have you back on because I We'll have to demo all the
Promote
stuff. Yeah, we'll have better equipment going, so we get like really good shots of everything. But
Nice.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. It's been a blast. It's been fun, and I don't know. You guys are some of my favorite people. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, obviously, but then like I don't know. We just click on a lot of like similar levels. I feel like so. Like the conversation always flows and it's easy, and like I don't know. I don't think we ever like argue about things like. Like, you know, one time I had a girl who was atheist on here, and we didn't argue, but it was like, you know, you're sitting there going, oh, wow, they think so differently than me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's sometimes nice when you sit down with people who are like, oh, yeah, we get it.
Yeah,
we click, so.
It's always been like that with us three.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always, like, been a similar belief system, so.
Yeah.
It's always good times.
Yeah.
So, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We'll get you back on. And
Thanks for having
us. Thanks for having us.
We'll definitely do it for the demo and for the business and all that stuff, so. And then I'll send you all the clips, too, so you can just, like, push them to it.
Oh, yeah. Put them on Instagram, everywhere.
Yeah. So.
It's true.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.